I don't know what these sounds were, but that's okay. Let's do it. They are ready. I am ready. Let's go ahead and hop into the co-main event of the evening. 6,000 MMR gaming between these two guys.
Let's get it on. Round 1. Fight.
In the bottom right side, and for the first time in I think like 20 or 25 weeks, he found his keyboard, he found his mouse, and he is ready to show us that he's still one of the better Protoss players in Europe. Representing the Platinum Heroes, this is Goblin. Biggest career result for Goblin was that top 8 in Kiev a long time ago, where he defeated Drogo in the run of 16. That was a magical run for Gobbers. Top left side of Heartland, we are looking at the main base of our Belarusian Zerg, also representing the Platinum Heroes. He has been grinding, he plays a lot on the ladder and in all the online tournaments. This is Nikich. We've seen this man quite often in the last, let's say, 20 weeks. Just because there is a lack of obviously good Zergs in Europe. I kind of feel that Nikich and Young Yakov are the only two that are like almost there, not quite Eleza Lambo level, but really closing in. And then of course we've got Fjant and Mixu, who are also excellent. Eva is a great Zerg, we saw him last week in the main event. But there aren't too many Zergs, so I often reach out to this young man. He's eager, he's hungry. It's definitely safe to say that he's still dreaming big. He really wants to make something out of his Starcraft 2 career. Very excited to see how he's going to do against Goblin today. The winner of the series gets $100, the loser gets $25. Friday night gaming. Tomorrow we have the Big Gabe Cup. I don't know if my bot is actually working. Did you guys get any messages over this Big Gabe Cup tomorrow? It's supposed to come every 30 minutes. Either I've just missed it every single time or I didn't do it right. But tomorrow the Big Gabriel Cup, guys. I will be leaving my home at like 8:30 a.m. Between 8:30 and 9 a.m. I'll be heading out. I have to make a quick pit stop next to the highway in Tilburg. I'll pick up Kalazur, the man who's playing in the next series. And then we're going to have a fun day of video games in Deutschland. I'll be streaming it on my channel. Hero Marine will also be streaming it, I think, on his channel. We saw a lot of Twilight Council in that previous series. I like it, but I also understand that Goblin is going to go for the Oracles. When Goblin was active, I do feel that there was a time that he really got a lot better with the Oracles. He used to be a proper Phoenix boy, like your old man. Kind of gave up on it on one point, and I guess he just kind of came to the conclusion that if he wants to be one of the bigger Protosses in Europe, he needs to get a bit more comfortable with the Oracles too. Did we just start this series? Yes, this is the opening map of the third best of 5. But I've already been going for 3.5 hours, matey. Couple fun series so far, and not a single 3-0 yet. So I might be safe, and I might stay on Basilisk for another week. Thank the Lord. I'm kidding, obviously. Well, it's been a good night so far. I am not unhappy, guys. Hello, Meta Chobo. First Oracle of Goblin looking for some stray drones where the Spork Roller is not. The Queens were a bit out of position, so Goblin does find the tiniest of openings and he grabs 2 workers. Nikich is here with a bunch of Zerglings on the other side of the map, but excellent at that positioning by Gobbers. No opening here. Nice wall up as well. Stalker is going to keep the natural safe. I think Goblin is going to be kind of happy with this, but eventually Nikich just says, I believe that I can take this fight. I see enough surface area, and he grabs the first adept rather quickly. He's going to get the second one as well, and this is all right before the shield battery is done. One more adept is going to keep it safe. The 2 oracles are just going to dive into the natural, and they're going to zap down a lot of drones. That is great economic damage by Goblin. Is there a Sport Crawler here? No, there is not. There is one Queen. Goblin finds one more drone. Gets out of there with both. Jeez. 25 HP on one Oracle and 4 HP on the second. A combined 29 HP left, guys, on these 2 Oracles. But hey, that means they can still fight. They can still help out defensively. Drop stasis trapeze, revelations, etc. You heard I had some clutch wins for Basilisk last season. I only played twice. No, last season I only played one time and I lost. First season I played one time against Crank and I won. Well, we did have a couple of show matches in the playoffs and I won all of those. One of the oracles got picked off there. Great targeting by Nikich. The adepts did not finish up. So I guess a few links for an oracle. It was amazing, I think, Benny. I mean, the free-for-all didn't go my way, but I don't really beat myself up over the outcome of a free-for-all. You don't really control your own fate, right, if it's with 4 players. The 1v1 is the one that matters to me. I think I did very good. The Goblin is going to donate all of these adepts. They're going to get picked up. They're not going to get a whole lot. I know it's just basic adepts, but still feel that they should be able to accomplish a little more than just 2 drones. 63 drones on the side of our Belarusian Zerg. Stalkers don't have blink yet, by the way, guys. Oh, what a catch. What a catch by our Belarusian Zerg. Surrounds 5 Stalkers. 10-15 seconds before blink is done. Massive. Excellent pickoff there by our Belarusian. These are like the little opportunities that you always have to look for if you're a high-level Zerg. And yeah, there's a good chance that 4 or 5 times you try it, you get nothing. But the one time that you do grab those 5 Stalkers, that's why you do it. Nice revelation over here by Goblin. Is going to push back the creep. I love active creep towards Lynx. Are going to try to get on top of the battery. Goblin is a little bit late. I'm surprised that he doesn't click on the battery. Okay, well, I mean, if you kill 9 probes that quickly, I guess it was a good call. I personally would have gone for the battery first, but yeah, it worked out. 9 probes is pretty good. Goblin is working towards the second Robo and the Robo Bay. Once those are online, he's obviously going to have a very good time against the army that the Belarusian is currently working with. But the Infestation Pit is down. Hive Tech gets fired up. I'm pretty impressed so far by the man who you guys thought for a split second was a 10-1 underdog. I don't know what you guys settled for in the end, but I think Nikich is playing good. He seems quick. He's got a good plan. A good idea of where he wants to go. We're gonna morph a whole bunch of links into banelings. In between the natural... Oh, the observer, guys! The observer of Goblin is gonna give him the heads up this is happening. But I think he's still focused on this army right now. So those banelings might still get something. Here come the Banes. Slow banelings for the win. Oh, minus 17 probes. Oh, more than that. Make it 21. Make it 22. The Nikich says, Gubbers, I don't know about you, but I'm feeling 22. He's playing really good. Excellent first game, guys, by our Belarusian Zerg. Goblin does have a couple of disruptors, but disruptors are not fantastic against Lynx. Gonna send Lynx to get on top of this base as well. Triple Oracle does pack a punch, but Nikich just does not give a damn. He wants to click down this Nexus and he... get it then, mate! Oh! Hey, that was a bit clumsy. We do have a few more Lynx storming on top of the 3rd base as well. Maybe he lost a little bit more than he was supposed to, killing the 4th. Battery overcharge will not save this Nexus. It's too far away. So our Belarusian Zerg is gonna get 2 Nexi for... well, the price of a lot of Zerglings, but taking out 2 bases is massive. Sure, costed him an arm and a leg. We have now lost 109 links, 1 roach, 3 ravages. Taking out 2 bases is big, though. And don't forget that he did fire up a Hive a while ago. Hive is done, Adreno Glens on the way. We could get Vipers. Goblin also finds a little opening with his oracles. Activates Pulsar Beam, guns down 5 drones. He's been around for a while. Skywalker, he's just one of these guys that plays a lot. Oh, the Zealot isn't on hold position. He plays a lot, he's grinding, he's actively trying to get better. And I think you guys see so far that in this first game, this kid really is getting better. He is in all the right places. Nova for Goblin. Pretty good connection. I'm not sure if Nikich needs to attack right before missile attacks, right before Adreno, but just like Mac earlier tonight, he loves attacking. Drops the Ultralisk Cavern as well of 80-something drones. 5 base Zerg. The creep spread is not amazing, but it's okay. It's acceptable. Goblin obviously made a lot of oracles, dropped revelations, has observers now too. Lings, Banes, and Roaches. That Nova has potential. In the end, it only gets a couple of Lings. We have more Lings attacking the third and the natural. I want to take a little look at that one. The Assimilator is not the right target. These Stalkers, I think, will eventually lose the fight because Lings with +2 melee and Adrenal Glands is so freaking good. No cannon, no battery in the main, so more probes will fall. And Nikich is just hitting like a freaking tornado over here, man. He's playing incredibly quick. He doesn't have a lot of money in the bank, but with all of his attacks, he keeps on finding damage. And we can absolutely justify the way that he's playing. Has created a 29 worker lead and a 2 base advantage for himself. An impressive, strong opening map. Does have a minor gas issue. Might need to saturate this extractor, take another extractor. Zealot is again not on hold position. Second time in this game that Zealot is going to charge forward. Nikich is going to get more probes and Novas. Apparently, I think we're very good. Seems like a lot of dead Zerg buddies hit the floor here. The Goblin is really just struggling against the Lings. The run-bys are doing a serious number as Goblin has fallen down to 38 probes, guys. 38 probes, and he's going to lose a few more here against the Lings with Adrenal. It's only a 12-minute game on Hardlet. And in a 12-minute game, 79 workers have fallen. That's a few more than I'm used to. Nice clutch warp in there, but is it going to be in time? Kind of was in time, but then the oracles, the activated pulsar beam a little bit too late. Archon gets surrounded. Even the Archon dies. As Nikich is here with the Swarm, and the Swarm in all its glory. Goblin does fire another Nova, gets a couple of Banelings. But how much longer can Goblin really keep this up? That is a fantastic Nova. Is it just a little bit too late? Nick is just sitting on a lot of money. He's getting those Disruptors now as well. There are still Banelings in the mix. And I think this will do it for game 1. A wholly impressive first game by Nikich. Killing 82 workers in 13 minutes. That's a really strong performance. Coming in as the underdog, a lot of people did not think that he was ready for a player like Goblin yet. Goblin obviously always a bit of a question mark. But that was just a really strong play by Nikich. That was really strong. Thank you, Leroy, for the 28 months. Did the prediction settle for 25% in the end, Sep? Did it go 75-25? I mean, I know Goblin is the bigger name, and especially maybe on my channel because of all the years of Team Roddy and having Goblin on Team Roddy. But I did praise Nikich, and I told you guys that he's good and that he's grinding. Now, there's still a lot of Starcraft to be played. There is no reason to assume that Goblin can turn this around, but getting 6,219 MMR in this day and age, you're a really good player if you do that, guys. Beating Shameless apparently in 8 minutes. He's made great progress. It's fun to see, man. I always get excited and I get a bit hyped when there are these names that you've been following for a while and you know they're good and they show potential, but you always wonder if they have hit their ceiling, right? If they're kind of just like, if they will forever be a 5-7 or a 5-8 Zerg. Well, not this kid. This kid says, nope, I'm not done yet. I believe that I can get better. I will get better. There's plenty of reasons to still play StarCraft, and he has made great progress. Very impressive.
Round 2, fight!
Top left side. And lovely first game. Simply lovely, as Max would put it. The Belarusian Zerg taking the 1-0 lead here in the co-main event of the evening. Platinum Heroes Nikich. Bottom right side, we are looking at the main base of a man who is beloved on this channel for all the right reasons. He was part of Team Roddy for a long time, and he's been around for a little while. Feels like it was just yesterday. He was this young, up-and-coming Croatian Protoss. Now we've been following and looking at his games for 6-7 years at this point. This is Platinum Heroes Goblin. I believe Goblin is 21 or 22 at the moment. I think he is from the same year as Rainer and Clem, actually. A long time ago, guys, I ran a tournament and I decided to go full American, and I called it My Sweet 16. And that's because Goblin, Rainer, and Clem all turned 16, and I was like, these kids are good. I want to have some show matches with them. So I let them play against each other. Raynor was the best of the 16-year-olds, but we had a fun day. I actually think that Goblin finished above Clem in that. It was also the era of the Void Ray rushes and all the shield batteries. It was a fun day though. Fun day of games. Thank you to my man Andre for the 28 months. How's everything going, Andre? Any chance you make it to Cologne tomorrow for the Big Ape Cup? Little one-day fun in Germany. Couple hours. What's a couple hours to my man Andre? He should be able to make that. Goblin is not gonna switch things up. It is a 1 gate, fast expand, adapts into a Stargate. Nikich has the 3rd as his natural and will just take it from there. Flying back from Cape Town to AMS. Are you in, I didn't know you were in South Africa at the moment, mate. I'll be at Schiphol Sunday morning. So I don't know if you arrive on Sunday morning, but if you do, maybe we can have coffee together. That would be fun. I think Vicky would love that too. First adapt of Goblin is gonna grab the first 2 links. Might get a drone here. Good job there with the adapt. Body blocking. Wants to body block that. Oh, that's a great first adapt. 2 links, 2 drones. Yeah, you'll take that any day of the week. Good start here for the man who's trailing 0-1. And it's funny because you think of Nerdshow as an incredibly old school player, right? Almost like ancient StarCraft 2 history. Like, oh yeah, he was great. I actually, by the time that I started following Goblin, he was already playing a lot of games against Nerdshow. It was maybe like a little bit towards the tail end of Nerdshow's career, but Nerdshow his roaches and hydras against Goblin his carriers. I have some fun memories of watching games on Acid Plant and those kind of maps. If everything goes well for me, Andre, in my crazy upcoming, let's say 36 hours, I will be at Schiphol at 7 AM on Sunday. Well, that sounds awesome, mate. I hope you guys had a blast. One day I want to hang out with you in South Africa. I've never gone. I hope we can make it happen one day. So Goblin off to a good start. Let's see if we can have a strong follow-up to our good start. The Queens are kind of sleeping on the job here, and Goblin is deadly with his oracles. Zaps down 6 drones. Beautiful oracle play there, by the way. Not a single misclick. Like, pop, 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 pop. Actually a lot harder than what it looks like. If I do this, my oracles go like woo, and they float all over the place, and the shots are out of sync. But that was goodbye, Gobbis. The run-bys into the natural and the main really did him dirty too, because in the fights Goblin was actually doing pretty good. This is that bailing run-by into the 3rd, and then all those Zergling run-bys into the natural and the main. Really put a number on his economy, and eventually he just couldn't keep up. Those are things that are easy to fix, right? A Zealot alone is not good enough. That Zealot needs to be in hold position. A man like Goblin should know that, and I'm sure he also thinks that that's where it went wrong. We've got 4 adepts shading into the 3rd base. We're gonna grab a couple of drones. We have oracles flying into the natural. Sporecrawler gets a bunch of hits off. I think overall pretty good defense here by Nikich. Like, yeah, he lost 5 drones, but he's gonna kill all these adepts. He did some damage to the oracles. It's almost inevitable that triple oracle and adepts at the same time won't find some damage. So. If you want to get good at Protoss, search a POV of max specs on YouTube, put it on 0.5 speed, and follow the mouse with your mice. I don't think that's quite how you get good at Protoss, mate. Now, you can definitely learn a lot from max specs, but I think everyone has figured out after 14 years of StarCraft 2 that just knowing what to do is not the same as actually doing it. I believe a lot of you guys have a very great idea of what you would love to do, but executing it is incredibly difficult. Goblin is forced to cancel the 4th base. Good moment of Nikich to show up with those links. We will immediately rebuild it though. No, I don't have any tickets yet for the Euros, but it is definitely a dream of mine to attend one of the games. Ideally a game of the Netherlands, but I think it should be very easy. I mean, Germany, Netherlands is so close. There's a lot of stadiums near the border. A couple of these games in the European Championships are not Omega hype, so yeah, if we can find a nice crew, get a bunch of nerds together to watch a European football game, I'm in. Count me in, Chief. Goblin, his stalkers get in range to shoot at a queen. Almost one-shot it. First queen that has died. We need a very quick hive on the side of Nikich. I mean, that hive is going to be done at like 8:20 or something. Lings are going to get us around on a couple of the stalkers. Blink is on cooldown. Blink. I wonder how that would have gone if we would have just continued fighting there with the Zerglings. Maybe Nikich just felt that the numbers were dwindling a little too quick. You know, those oracles were too scary to ignore. Actually, he dropped another lurker there for a split second there, but he cancelled it immediately. Don't think that Goblin has been in the main for a little while, and that's an understatement, guys. The last time that Goblin was in the main, the spawning pool was still in production. So Goblin really has no idea that this hive is going to be so quick and that these lurkers are going to be so quick. 80 workers against 80 workers obviously looks promising for a Croatian Protoss, but stalkers against lurkers I don't find very promising. Lings show up, I think, at a bad moment because the Archons are going to finish up. One Archon gets surrounded and dies. The other one will get saved by battery overcharge. But now the Hydras and the Lings and the Queens are going to battle the Stalkers on the left side. Seems like the Lings are on hold position in this middle line. And Goblin's going to need to wipe in a few more units and he will. My favorite SC2 tune? I have no idea how they're called, but there are definitely some of the soundtracks that I kind of like, where I'm like, yeah, now I'm in the zone. But I have no idea about the names of any of the Starcraft 2 songs. And if it comes to fan-made songs, I think the GOAT song forever is Tempo, when I'm Grandmaster. I just don't believe that there will ever be a better song than that, Starcraft 2 related. But we had a lot of great songs in the early days. Terran Team 2 is definitely the one. But I feel like I don't even see that. You guys can tell me where I can take a look at those names. I feel like I just have StarCraft Brood War, StarCraft 2, or everything. The Baneling song was cute, Void Rays, whatever. Smix had a couple very nice songs, but When I'm Grandmaster is just the best song. Some big storms over here, guys, by Goblin. It's a lot of Lings that are melting. Nikich is definitely in trouble, but I don't think Goblin can get quite on top of these lurkers. Seismic Spines is done. Adaptive Talents is on the way. Goblin obviously in a better spot than he was in the previous game, because Goblin's economy has been kind of untouched this game. I like those spines behind the middle line in an awkward spot, but it will still draw the zealots to them. Just search on YouTube. If I won't forget it, mate, I'll do it later tonight. Goblin is going to drop the Fleet Beacon and the second Stargate. Maybe thinking of some Tempest or even Carriers. I think both would be fun. Blinks forward, wants to battle these Hydras. I don't know about this fight for Goblin though. The Lurker count, guys, is getting crazy high. And Lurker speed is done, but all the Lurkers just moved. And it's going to take a little while, but they will still get some absolutely devastating shots up though. And Nikich, I think, has the right amount of buffer for these Lurkers. With the Lings, with the Hydras. The Hydras that are now chasing down this Protoss army. And both Immortals get sniped. The Archon gets sniped. Another Archon is going to get sniped, and Goblin is going to lose pretty much everything here as more Lings show up. What a great fight by the Belarusian Zerg again. Even though he moved all of his Lurkers like 7 seconds before Lurker speed is done. And that would have really made a big difference. I think he truly made the best of it in the end. And some very fast games between these two. This really has been an excellent best of 5 as well. I know that it's supposed to be good, guys, on the Friday night. Like, you know, I have it easy. Basilisk gives me a budget and I can just create some fun matches. But I don't think many people really woke up this morning with the idea, I want to see Nikich against Goblin. But these games have been great. More storms are landing. The Hydras and the Lings and the Lurkers are melting. And Goblin is going to successfully push the Belarusian back. Goblin is going to get a very easy cancel on this hatchery if he wants that. But he doesn't. He wants to go for the spines. I mean, now at least he knows. War Prism's still there. Tempo had a lot of great songs. I mean, the Home Story Cup song is great as well. When I say that I think the goated song is When I'm Grandmaster, that doesn't mean that I think his other songs are not good. I love a lot of the music that Tempo has made. And I think it really just did something good for the Starcraft scene as well. But that's just forever my favorite. It's personal opinion. Goblin really wants this hatch, but the hatchery gets saved, guys, by the queens. Great transfuse there by Nikich. What a moment to have those queens there. Not sure if he cancelled this hatch. Seems like he didn't. So Goblin ignored it earlier, but does get the kill on it in the end. Yeah, Tempo was at Home Story Cup 10 and maybe 22. Tempo's a great dude. He's been playing a lot of Immortal Gates of Fire at the moment on Twitch. So if you guys ever want to say hi to Tempo or hang out, just take a look at his stream. He's playing a lot of Immortal Gates of Fire. Couple Zealots getting wiped in the main. Zealots are going to have a hard time battling Lings though that have Adrenal Glands and +2 melee. These Lings don't mess around. He's the community manager for that studio, so he's an employee. Alright. Explains, perhaps. Good to hear. Hydras are going to work on not the War Prism, but on the Zealots. Goblin is trying to make some progress with his army. The High Templars took a lot of lurker shots there, by the way, guys. Does Nikich have enough anti-air? Only 2 carriers for now, but even 2 carriers pack a punch, especially with +1. It feels that game 2 belongs to Goblin, but can he close it out? You can always take a bad fight against the lurkers. You can always have a silly fight against Hydras and Corruptus. It kind of feels that Goblin has done enough things correctly in this game. The traits of Nikich have just not been that good. Or at least not as good as they were in the previous game. The battery overcharges have been on point. I mean, last game was like, what, a 12-minute game and we lost 85 probes. This game we lost 4. That's the difference, guys. StarCraft 2 games look very different if you lose 80 workers less. Crazy, huh? That's funny, Banana said. Goblin, his oracles are AFK. Corruptus pick off 1. But Corruptus do not attack that quickly. For the first time in this game, our Belarusian Zerg finds a great Baneling run by and he gets the 13 probes. Corrupt count is now at 11 with 6 more on the way. It's kind of hanging in there. Now a Zerg without a bank, I know you normally feel like they are dead, but I think they don't necessarily have to be dead if the lurkers can just find a great fight. Thank you to Patient Zero for continuing the gifted sub, mate. I really appreciate it. Bunch of Lings of Nikich did run into a big old stasis in the center of the map. Only 6 lurkers remaining. That's not that much against this ground army. High Templar low on HP, but it does live. We need more lurkers. Lings are gonna get on top of these cannons. Lings with +3 melee now and Adrenal Glands as we land another big storm on the side of Goblin. Goblin who also sets up a little Zealot run by. Goblin wants this hatch, will get this hatch. Does lose a carrier, but Nikich's supply is dropping and his bases are dropping like flies. He's now lost 2 hatcheries in 10 seconds. Goblin is gonna get out of here with a lot of these high HP important Protoss units. +2 done for the carriers. I think sniping those 2 bases is kind of going to do it for this game. A fun 16-minute game with a lot of trades, a lot of battling. High execution on Goblin's side, and Nikich just having a tougher time finding that economic damage. He's gonna try for it one more time with the lurkers. Corruptors are here in very high numbers, so they do snipe the 2 carriers very quickly. They're actually gonna get all 3 of them. They're gonna get the Oracle as well. It's a great fight for the Belarusian. It's just that Goblin still has a ground army. And the ground army will not just disappear. Maybe a bit of an overcommitment there by Goblin, because he already killed all the bases, right? Didn't really need to stick around any longer. Now we kind of just donated our carriers and oracles for nothing. Nikich is going to split up his Corruptors, but there are a bunch of cannons shooting at those three. That's not going to be good enough. I think all these Corruptors will be good enough. Battery Overcharge will not save this Nexus, but Goblin... No! He stopped it too soon! Oh, no, well... It looked over, now it's definitely Omega over, as Nikich does not get the Nexus. He moved the Corruptors back for Lord knows whatever reason. As I think there was a Warp Prism in his main, maybe that's what it is. The Lurk is actually doing an alright job here against all the Immortals, but it's not a fair fight. Goblin has overwhelming numbers. And after 18 minutes, we are all tied up between these two excellent video gamers on the Friday night. Ah, this is a sick best of 5 so far. Well done. Great performance by both of them. Kudos to Goblin. He still has an emote in my channel, by the way, guys. Roddy lower caps and then G-O capital. Roddy go! To show some love to Goblin. Nikich does not have an emote because he has never been a part of Team Roddy. As a representative of Twitch chat, I can say that we love Vidya Gaming. So do I, matey. So do I. Alright, so all tied up after 2. Another series that will not end in a 3-0. On a bit of a roll tonight. It's already 9 PM. This is normally where the main event is kind of supposed to start, about to start. Kalazur and Showtime, I'm going to have to be a little patient. They've got a big day ahead of themselves tomorrow. Both Showtime guys and Kalazur will be going to the big Gabriel Cup in the Experian tomorrow night. Oh, I say tomorrow night, but tomorrow morning, tomorrow afternoon. It's all day. Skillet is sending me a picture of my phone charger. I forgot my phone charger in Poland. And it's one of these things that, even though forgetting a charger is not really the end of the world, I go absolutely crazy over it. Because it has happened quite a few times that I left a charger. And I even know that it's like on my nightstand and was charging my phone overnight in a hotel room. And then you pack everything up besides your charger for some absolutely idiotic reason. It drives me crazy because I just got a new phone, I had a new cable, a new power outlet, and then I left it in my room in Katowice. So I contacted every player. I was like, hey guys, I left my charger in that room. Can you please ask the hotel reception desk? And then in the end, Rainer and Skillis took care of it. How does Big Gabe make his own cup? In the exact same way as you can make your own cup, Mind Control. If you say like, hey, all of you video gamers, right here is a gaming cafe. If you guys show up on the 2nd of March 2024, you can play in the Mind Control Cup. So that's the way that Gabe did it. And that's the way that you can do it too. All tied up after 2. Let's go ahead and hop into game 3.
Round 3. Fight.
Hello, Jimmy. Top left side. Hey, there is my automated message. It works, guys. Love your artist, love your Gabe. My message works. Top left side playing an excellent game 2 on Oceanborn. Can we build on that foundation that we have just laid for the beautiful Protoss army? This is Platinum Heroes Goblin. I asked Gabe if I could play because I actually think that I'm kind of in good shape right now. So I was like, hey Gabe, like you want me to play as well or just cast? And Gabe just responded, just cast. I was like, alright, jeez. I mean, tell me how you really feel, Gabe. Like, I was kind of eager because, you know, I've been playing a lot of games lately. I feel like I'm alright. I'm in good shape, but it is what it is. Bottom right side, the Belarusian Zerg. A fantastic game 1 and also a good game 2, even if it wasn't enough for the victory. This is Platinum Heroes Nikich. You're staying now in a hotel next to the Experian. Actually so much better here than Krefeld. Yeah, Cologne is a lovely city, Jimmy. You've been to Cologne though, right? I saw your picture actually. You're close to... It looked like you were close to the central train station. I think the Experian is close to a train station, but it's not the central station. I've been to the Experian once or twice. I actually... last time I went to the Experian, I got invited by Take TV. Because I think it was like their opening celebration night. And then Dennis Take had a great idea of organizing a show match, guys. And the show match was Hero Marine against Roddy. Take is like, this is gonna be fun, man. I was like, ah. I mean, I don't mind showing up for you, Dan. You know, I love you. And if I gotta drive to Cologne for you, I'll do it. But I think we can do better than Gabe against Roddy. And Dennis is like, it's okay, man. I've seen you play ladder. You're good, right? I was like, well, I'm okay, but I'm not Gabe good. So it's not the best idea, mate. But in the end, he really wanted it. We did it. And needless to say, I got absolutely owned by Gabe. It's good practice. I don't know. I don't know if driving 2.5 hours to Cologne to get absolutely blasted by Gabe in a best of 3 is my best practice. I think I can get better practice on the ladder. Pick the wrong race, Duke Nukem. I think that's where it all went wrong, mate. In my eyes, Goblin, the most talented of the 3. You just picked the wrong race, matey. Goblin is opening up with Resonating Glaive Depth. We saw it a couple times in our previous best of 5, and for the first time in this series we're gonna see it here as well. I don't know if he feels that it's a side delta thing, or maybe he believes that Nikich is a bit stubborn in his scouting. I play very often against Nikich with glaives. In my eyes he's pretty good against it, but I'm obviously not as good as Gobbis. Roddy is like Grass League 3. Yeah? You think that's what I am, mate? Alright. You would think after my performance yesterday that there would finally be a tiny bit of respect on my name, but no. Thank you to One Child for the 10 months. I'm about to go back to the city where we met, mate, recently. Hopefully all is good for you. Goblin is gonna shade out 4 adepts with glaive. We've got a war prism that's gonna support the troops. And it's 4 gates, so you can warp in 4 more. Like 8 adepts and a prism, guys, this early. Definitely is going to pack a punch. We've seen some of the best Protoss players in the world completely fall apart. Excuse me, best Zergs in the world completely fall apart against this opening on this map. I'm thinking of a certain Korean Zerg in the Masters Colosseum. I wouldn't hate a cancel here, by the way, and that's exactly what Goblin is going to do. He will cancel that shade. Why would you let that shade finish up if you can just kill a queen and kill a bunch of drones immediately? Don't forget, we still have that war prism chilling over here. A great start for our Croatian Protoss Goblin. It all obviously comes down to the follow-up, but if this is how your attack starts, most of the time you're going to find a lot more success. War Prism is going to try to save these adepts, and Goblin somehow saves 3 out of 4. And immediately drops them as well. This is good. The queens are not here to help out. You need a little bit of anti-air to normally put some pressure on that prism. The queens were too busy defending the 3rd hatch. Good point, by the way, on the tanks. Good point. Yeah. You guys are smart tonight. You guys have really helped me put some things in perspective. Thank you, Twitch chat. I don't know how you guys got so wise tonight, but a couple of great one-liners. Great job here by Nikich, by the way. Hunting down these adapts. 2 adapts very low in HP do in the end to make it back to the prism. This started off fantastic for Goblin. I gotta say, the last minute and a half, it wasn't that hot. Now, Nikich needs to find that the Nexus is not there, but it's over here at the 9 o'clock, and hopefully for him he will check. He is going to check, sees a couple of adapts. I think that's a cancel though. Our Belarusian Zerg is going to get a cancel on the 3rd hatchery. Adepts are here in decent numbers, but I think just a little bit too late. The Lynx will get the cancel. Great move. Yeah, I think that helps as well, dude. I think you're onto something, mate. There's a lot of knowledge in chat. I think it varies per day. Some of these nights is an absolute nightmare, but tonight you guys really are onto something. And I am not afraid to admit when you guys impress me. Twitch chat is on fire tonight. Wisdom everywhere. +1 melee and a Baneling nest on the way for Nikich, as Goblin is trying to push back the creep a little. Good activity, at least with the War Prism, but this is now a 7-minute game, guys, and the third Nexus is only 60% done. I would not be too happy, even though it started off so good for Goblin. I would not be happy being in a 7-minute game and not even having a third Nexus yet. This is really cool, Adept War Prism play, letting the Shade finish up, killing a couple of drones, picking it up again with the War Prism and getting out of harm's way. A lot of great moves coming out of our Creation Protoss. And he does already have a Colossus on the way. The Colossus is fantastic. The 3 Immortals, also fantastic. Kind of feels that Nikich wants to all-in, but what kind of an all-in is it? Because he's going up to 4 bases. He's firing up Baneling speed. Goblin's still multitasking. And an Adept Shade. Kind of a fake into the natural and then a real Shade into the third. Doesn't get much, but it's obviously starting to add up, right? It's 2 drones here, 2 drones there. We started off at 6. We're at 15 now. Extended thermal lens is close to finishing up. We've got 1 Colossus and Goblin says, alright, if you have this many Ravagers, I want to go for a Disruptor quickly. It's very hard to miss, guys, with Disruptors when you're targeting Ravagers. Ravagers are kind of chunky boys. I don't want to call them fat or obese or overweight, but they're chunky and they're hard to miss. And landing Novas on Lings or Banes, pretty tricky. Roaches, very doable, but the Ravager is pretty much the easiest target out there. They are light units, though. Nothing light about those Ravager spots. You know it, mate. Nothing light about those. Hey. The truth is, there's just a whole lot to love for the Zergs, okay? Those Zergs like something to hang on to, and they're looking for a whole lot to love. The War Prism can save these Adepts, by the way. Goblin had his fun with the Prism and the Adepts, but in the end, that party finally gets shut down. I do think, though, that the Lartech Zerg is going to have an incredibly difficult time against cannons, batteries, and disruptors. It seems that Nikich agrees with that assessment, so he's going to fire up the Hive immediately. I think that's a smart play. With 68 drones, Lartech, you're just not going to beat this kind of a Protoss army. Unless Goblin would really drop the ball and somehow miss every Nova and have bad micro. The Goblin is here to play. There's $100 on the line for the winner of this best of 5. $25 for the loser. Goblin is doing his best. He's playing well. I think both of them playing well. Putting on a show. Baneling speed is done now. The Baneling count is already pretty high. What Nikich is doing here, by the way, guys, in a way is a bit similar to how Solar played a lot of games against Hero. And I'm thinking back of like Game as 8. Where they max out on this kind of an army and they don't attack. And you're like, well, can't the Protoss just get the Dream Army against it? But even the Dream Army obviously does still need some micro. And especially on creep. Can be hard to get good fights against as many Banelings. Speaking of, by the way, Air, did you guys actually ever manage to do your Dungeons and Dragons thing that you guys needed your own channel for in my Discord? I saw that and I was like, you guys have no idea what you're getting into. Scheduling with people that have different time zones, different agendas, and different lives is very difficult. But I was like, D&D is not for me. I wish you guys good luck. And I don't think you guys ever managed to do it. Yeah. +2 is done, Blink is done, Glaives is done. Glaives obviously has been done since the beginning of this game. And 1 corrosive bout does connect. We have a Adrenal Glands on the way. We have 1 Viper. It's not much, but it's honest work. Haha. It's almost been a year of you guys planning that session. Every night I open my Discord and I look at that channel and I grab some popcorn. And I was like, yeah, now you guys know how hard it is. You guys always think it's so easy for me to just summon everyone and make people appear and do this, do that. Enjoy your D&D, leave me out of it, and I hope it works out. And it's been a solid year right now of planning your first D&D session. There's the D&D channel. I think they made it private, but I mean, that was also up to them. I said you guys can do it public, private, whatever. They have tried and they have not succeeded. Challenge accepted is happening. I want to see it. I want to see that Roddy stream D&D. I'll be glued to my screen, mate. Alright, Goblin is here. Blinding Cloud could be big, by the way. Abducts could be Blick as well. We kind of need to abduct the Disruptor. He doesn't. So he just eats these Novas to the face. Obviously, the Lurkers and the Spines are definitely putting a number on this Protoss army. But Goblin is attacking at 3 different locations. Our Stalkers, Archons, and Zealots. We have a War Prism in the natural. And this was the main army. I mean, both of them took heavy losses. I want to say, I think in the end it went good for Goblin. Unless he loses everything now. But why would he lose everything? He gets a full surround. Or a full wraparound almost on this Lurker then. And that is, guys, before Adaptive Talents finishes up. No Lurker speed is going to make it a lot harder for our Belarusian Zerg to move those Lurkers around. And I think it's safe to say that Nikich is in trouble. That is an expensive building to lose. It's an important building to lose. Especially before the upgrades are done. Gobbers is good. He needs to be careful here, but this is the kind of army that could get surrounded by 40 Zerglings and then you won't kill a unit. I think Goblin knows that. Doing a good job with expanding, going up to 5 bases, setting up a big old Zealot attack. That's not even a run by, guys. That's just an all-out attack assault. Spines are good, but this many Zealots with +3 I think are going to be good enough. Smart by Nikich to give them some support. I mean, Vipers and Lurkers could still win this game, but we do really need more Lurkers and we need Adaptive Talents. 7 Lurkers at the moment, 5 more on the way. Spire gets dropped as well, and 10 drones. Nikich seems to think that the worst is behind him. That Nova falls short, and the other Novas do not. Dealing with Disruptors, by the way, if you don't have Goblin goes for another Lurker then. I want to see this fight actually, because the Spines obviously would have lost the fight, but we do have the Lurkers, and I think the Lurkers in the end will keep this base safe. We are landing a couple of abducts here, but we are also landing a feedback and a Purification Nova, another feedback, another one Goblin. Oh, that's a good Nova. Gets the double kill on the Lurkers. So hard to take these fights if you don't have Lurker speed. Goblin has lost a lot of supply. But he gets what he was looking for, I guess, and that is that hatchery. Oh no, loses another Disruptor. And Lurker count is still freaking high. And guys, this was before Lurker speed. Lurker speed is done now. Kinda just felt that Nikich had the right answer everywhere, right? He obviously dealt with that War Prism. The Zealots in the natural didn't really do a whole lot. The 2 Lurkers completely saved this base. And now Nikich feels that it's his time to shine. He's got +3 melee. He's got Adrenal Glands. These lings are not lings that you can just deal with a couple of Zealots. Maybe the second round of Warpins is going to be good enough. This Goblin is going to send a Neo War Prism into the main. The main is definitely a very vulnerable target. This is not the kind of game where Nikich was ever mega rich. And he's got Spines everywhere. That's a no, but it has potential. The double obliteration on a bunch of these Hydras. But Nikich at least grabs a couple Archons, so it's not for nothing. War Prism in the main, guys, has potential. These are Lings with, Zealots with +3 melee and +1 plasma shields. Lings are very good, but not in these numbers. We cannot just match. I don't know about clicking on the Hive. The Hive is very tanky. More Zealots running into this base, but this one hero, Spine, that's getting protected by these 2 Lurkers, guys. 9 and 4 kills. 13 Zealots have died. to those two lurkers. And the spine has a kill too. What an insanely cool series between these two. Lurkers moving forward right now. Both of them are on 5 bases. The storm kind of whiffs. Spiky Boy's trying to do its thing. Goblin dropping 2 Stargates. Those are the first 2 Stargates of the game. First 2 Stargates of the game. High Templar is very risky to do that, but it works out. Lurkers moving closer and closer. Battery overcharge activated. We have gone for a blinding cloud. Those High Templars are so exposed, and a couple of them get picked off. I don't think Goblin can run into this, guys. There are 14 freaking Lurkers. Make it 13, but that's still a lot. Goblin looking for a feedback, does not find the feedback. The Nexus is dead. The Lurkers will keep on marching on. Goblin setting up the concave. This is it. Big moment. Maybe with a beautiful surround, it's going to be good enough. But we are going to land a couple of abducts before the fight starts. I think that's massive on the side of Nikich. Does a good job in avoiding that storm as well. Another Archon gets popped. Close game, man. It's only game 3 of the series, but it is a very close game. I think what you should do against Lurkers is basically what Goblin has been doing. You can obviously get Tempest or Carriers as well. This is not the fight. This is never, ever, ever the fight. Those blinding clouds are terrifying. Goblin has that prism here, but he's not using it. He's very focused on trying to push this Lurker army back. Like, surrounds are everything. You need sexy engagements. Nikich is splitting up this army. Goblin goes for an all-out counterattack. Maybe we should use that War Prism then. There are 5 Hydras left behind. Nikich is going to try to surround this army. I don't know if Goblin can recall, but he kind of needs to recall this army right now. If he doesn't, oh no, the High Templars get obliterated by Lurkers, even though he does land a couple of storms. Actually, this somehow turns into a good fight for Goblin. Excusez-moi. I have no idea how that happened, but Goblin makes the best of an almost impossible fight. In the end, though, when all the Zerg units show up, both of them taking serious losses. These Hydra are still killing workers. The Zealots killing drones. Jesus. It's like 4 fights happening right now. The supplies are closer than they've been in a little while. 95 army supply against 92. How many Lurkers are left? Only 3. The Zealots have not just killed all the drones, they're actually looking for this hatch. They will potentially get this hatch. Couple of defensive Zealots. Is it good enough against the Hydras? I think it's barely not good enough at first. Jeez Louise, Hydra survives with 1 HP. As this fight just keeps on going, but the Lurkers are a problem for these 10 Stalkers. Oh no, this is the 2 leftover Lurkers, the 2 hero Lurkers. As the Vipers show up and they're gonna land a double abduct on the Immortals. One of the Immortals dies. Even the High Templar gets picked off and abducted. I don't know if Goblin can replace all those expensive units. The final High Templar is dying. The final Immortals dying. Is that then it? Unless we can get some value out of this base. And our Belarusian friend is not gonna pick up on this. Gonna send the links back to the top side of the map, making sure that Goblin hasn't taken this base, even though he had the changeling there. 7 more Lurkers, guys. Whew. Yeah, it's not gonna be enough. Whatever Goblin can do here, it's just not going to be enough. And Nikich now finds this base as well, with his links, with his overlords. All the Lurkers are going to burrow. Triple abduct immediately, says hat trick. Here we go. Storms cannot get close. Final Hydras, final Lurkers. One more storm is going to tickle these Lurkers a little, but Lurkers just have a lot of HP. 200 HP on these spiky boys that burrow. I'm gonna move forward. The pain train. If the Zerg pain train ever had a face, I think this is the face. Goblin says, F it, one more counterattack. The best way sometimes of dealing with Lurkers is just never running into them, but let them run into you. Nice feedbacks, by the way. Nice storm as well. Jeez Louise just killed all 3 Vipers. Sick. Very well done, but is it too late? Goblin does have one more Zealot counterattack. Nikich is looking for that surround. The spikes will go off. High Templars are melting. Immortals taking a lot of damage. Final Zealots do find some success on the right side, but the Swan is here again. All the links of Nikich doing their thing. More links are going to get on top of this base as well, and that is going to do it. GG gets called. The Belarusian Zerg, Nikich, wins an excellent game 3 after 21 minutes and 37 seconds. Holy smokes, guys. What a best of 5 between these two. Goblin in the past has had a couple of like one-sided series in the Big Brain Bouts. It wasn't always fireworks. Sometimes it had to do a bit with his style as well, but it's been a very entertaining series. The score is 2-1 in favor of Nikich. But it is a best of 5, so Goblin could still turn things around. Since these games have been going on for a little while, I'm going to go ahead, guys, and take a very tiny break. After that, I'll be back with Game 4 immediately. I'll see you guys real soon. Game 4 coming up, and after that, we got Showtime Kalazur. Don't forget. Nerds were very eager to hop into Game 4 immediately, so I'm just going to go ahead and do that as well. Second to last series. After this, we still have the main event, Showtime versus Kalazur. I think that's going to be good as well. Let's go ahead and see what Game 4 will bring on Solaris.
Round 4. Fight.
Bottom left side, we are looking at the main base of the Croatian Protoss, representing Platinum Heroes, playing a great series, but he's down 1-2. Goblin. Give me some ruddy goals in the chat, guys. Give me some love for Goblin. And in the top right side, the man who doesn't have an emote, but still played a great, absolutely fantastic series. Very impressed by him. I know he's been getting better, but this still surprises me and impresses me. Platinum Heroes and Nikich. Fun time. Thank you to Belzery, 71 months. Jeez Louise, mate. It's a proper resub. You having fun, Therese? You've been enjoying the games tonight? One gate into Stargate. So Goblin says goodbye to the Twilight and goes back to the Stargate that he opened up with in Game 1 and Game 2. Throughout the series, I feel like the first Adept has been pretty successful for Goblin, and it may not seem that exciting, right? We always see one Adept go to the other side of the map, but this really does make a big difference. If you grab 2 drones and you keep this Adept alive, okay, I don't know how Goblin does it, but he's been very effective with it. This time around, I think the queen positioning is excellent, the body blocking as well, and Goblin cannot grab that first drone. Oh, still here, but still not going to get it. Now we have 2 adapts, 1-shot drones. This is where it gets a bit more serious and a bit more exciting. Timma, thank you, mate, for the 87 months. Supporting the kids. I need to pay all the kids tonight. We'll do that as soon as we're done. It's gonna cost the old man an arm and a leg again. Needs to be done. It's the first. 2 adapts of Goblin just kind of bouncing between the bases. Oh, he's relatively new, Mashkov. He's been around right now, like, I would say at least in the Grandmaster League region for a little while. Great save by Goblin on these 2. He's just been getting better. Like, he's just one of the few Zergs that is like getting better, is going up on the ladder, is improving his MMR, playing in the LoL tournament. So it's fun to see that it's not always Protoss players in Europe. It can be Zergs as well. So that's a very ambitious shade by Goblin, but hey, okay, gets 4. Loses the 2 adapts that were obviously better than bruised already, but gets 4 in the end, saves the Oracle. I mean, damage is important, he finds damage, so I guess we'll take it. He's a bit vulnerable now, though, in the triangle. Nikich has enough links, I think, to right now get on top of it. He is going to go for it. 1 adept is not going to be enough for Goblin. 2 adapts is better. Nice pylon, actually. Still not enough, I think. The Oracles are pretty far out of position. Once more, our Belarusian Zerg is going to grab the adepts here, I think. These are... Oh, that's an even better spot, but they will still die because they're so low on HP. How are the Oracles doing? Good run. Oh, Queen from downtown. No. Not today. Not today. 6 worker lead for Nikich, guys. 5 minutes and 10 seconds into the game. That's not something that he has been looking at every game. Goblin is gonna go for charge and +1. First time in this series that this is going to be his follow-up. This is the build that Hero found a lot of success with in the Masters Colosseum. I don't want to say like, oh, that's Oracle that's in a very, very dicey spot. Will probably live. Are you sure you get a scout? Maybe Goblin was looking to see if there was a Roach Warren. There is no Roach Warren yet, guys. I think from here on out, what we're gonna do is we're gonna follow the camera of Nikich for a little while. We are 6 minutes into this game. He only has links and +1 melee. He might be in serious trouble if like 12 zealots show up with +1. Goblin is on 52 workers, but he's gonna have a lot of gates. And Nikich is in trouble. He needs a Baning Nest or he needs a Roach Warren. There are 2 more adepts that are going to show up. That are going to distract Nikich a little while. This is going to prevent him from scouting. I apologize about the janky camera movement. The Spire is not the play here, guys. Now he sees Zealots. He's going to immediately drop a Roach Warren. But is that too late? Is that too late? Because this is a serious amount of Zealots with +1. And +1 makes a night and day difference. Well, it's soon +1. But Goblin doesn't want to wait any longer. He just wants to go for it. The Lynx have +1 here for a split second. Oh, Goblin, maybe those 10 seconds that you show up too early. Oh, I feel like it's painful that he actually took most of this fight. It's just Lynx and Queens that's going to be good enough here for the Belarusians. And Goblin has way more Zealots storming in, but with +1, if the Zealots would have just had +1 immediately, that would have really made a big difference. You 2-shot Zerglings instead of 3 attacks. Now Goblin is up in workers. I think he will see that Spire here. He's looking for some drones. Not the best Oracle movement this time around. Immediately queues up a Phoenix. The Lynx are somewhat scary, but obviously Goblin has 8 gates. 8 gates with Zealots and +1. I want to say you should be fine, especially if you can protect your battery. But can he protect his battery? Yes, he can. I think that Warping is good enough. Still 7 workers falling rather quickly. We have a Spire, but it doesn't mean that you need to use it. Finally, a Baning Nest. I'm actually a little bit surprised, guys, that he went for Roaches before Banelings, but maybe worried that the follow-up would be Archons, and Zealots would just be a bit too much to deal with. Uh-oh, no shield battery here, guys. Warpin is good. Zealots here to rescue. Goblin's still building some Phoenixes in case it is going to be Muras, but there are no Muras yet. I would have really liked a Dark Shrine here, by the way, guys. I think a Dark Shrine instead of a Templar Archives would have been awesome. And then you have the Phoenixes to maybe kill the Overseer. But 9 minutes into Solaris, it is incredibly hard to say how this is gonna go. And Nikich donates one of his Overseers, wants to see what's happening in the main. I think he saw the Templar Archives. Yes, he did. Gonna morph 15 Banes. These are gonna be slow Banelings. A 4-base Zerg. We're gonna morph a lot of Roaches into Ravages as well. So this Zerg supply is about to explode. He's looking to activate a stasis trap, and he does with just a single Zergling. I think there are Zealots counterattacking. Oh, that's a great counterattack by Goblin. That's a lot of workers that are gonna fall. Can Goblin defend here though? This is a lot of firepower on the ground. We have 14 Zealots, but I don't see them. We have a Baneling or a Stasis Trap here that's going to freeze up 3 of these Banes. We're going to warp in a bunch of extra Stalkers. The Stalkers are a bit exposed. Battery overcharge is big. Supplies are very close. Most of the time that's good for the Defender. And the Stasis Traps are real game changers here for Goblin. The Phoenixes are helping out as well. The Stalkers are now body blocking the Roaches to make sure that these Roaches cannot escape. I actually think Goblin has successfully defended. Found great damage on the other side of the map. That is a fantastic hold, guys. That is an absolutely fantastic hold by Goblin. Whereas Goblin's army, like, this is kind of it. But he had Zealots that completely ravaged his drone line. The Lynx show up at a picture-perfect moment, though, to potentially deny his 4th base. Goblin does not want to cancel it, but he has to. +2 melee Zerglings don't mess around. No, Goblin, no, that's not gonna work, Goblin. That's not gonna work.
Hat-trick.
If you have 3 Phoenix and 2 of them are lifting, you have 1 Phoenix attacking a Queen. That's gonna take a little while. Yeah, that wasn't it. It's okay. Maybe Goblin feels that he doesn't need them anymore, but don't forget that Spire is still there and it could come into play eventually. Goblin is up 20 workers. The only problem is that he doesn't really have a place to put them at the moment. Main base. Oh, actually he kind of has a place to put them. But I wonder where. That's a nice blink with a couple of these slow banelings. Wiggle, wiggle, wiggle. It's a lot of banelings for only 3 probes and not a great hold by Goblin. Zealot's still chilling over here in the bottom right. Waiting for their moment to strike. Nikich wants to get another cancel on the 4th Nexus. Oh, this is so painful for Goblin, guys, because it's got a 20 worker lead, but he just cannot do anything with it. Now the Archons are looking to trap all these roaches, but this army is just a little bit too big to surround. These guys cannot hold the line, so Goblin is actually in a bit of trouble here with these forces. He's not going to send in those Zealots in the bottom right. These two are a perfect match for each other, man. Goblin blinks forward, gets on top of all the roaches and ravages. So in the end, that trap did work because his units lured the army of Nikich all the way to the top left side. That is a big victory for Goblin. Even though he has not been able to get that 4th base up, he takes absolutely fantastic fights. The Belarusian Zerg is morphing 20 banelings. Baneling speed is about to kick in. Has an answer for these Zealots. I think he will be fine against the Zealots. Will he be fine against all the Archons, Immortals, and those 3 Oracles from the beginning of the game that are still alive? 2 more Queens die. Only a single Queen remains. A good stasis trap here by Goblin. There's more Zealots, by the way, or they somehow just won the fight against all those links. I don't know what happened. Nikich is in trouble. There's 1 Queen. Roaches and Ravages, but Goblin is getting a very high HP, strong, terrifying Protoss army. He's gonna snipe a couple of these Banes immediately. He's now taking not 1 but 2 bases at the same time. So we're going from a 3 base Protoss to a 5 base Protoss while still finding damage. It all started with that absolutely phenomenal defense here where it really wasn't easy. So much Zerg there, but Goblin did a great job. Moves the Oracles as well. And Goblin's relationship with the Phoenix is over, but the love relationship with the Oracle is going omega strong. Surprised that Nikich still has 110 supply, by the way, and a little bit of money in the bank. Both players sitting at around 1,000 resources. I want to say great roach position, but still some nice surface area for these Zealots to do their thing, as Nikich does grab a couple of these Archons. The army supply still looking good, both of them floating a little. But this should favor Goblin. It should be so much easier for the Protoss to spend your money here. Queue up a couple big robo units, spam some Zealots, and just have a good old time. 46 drones just can't possibly be enough, can it? And the Zealots really put up one hell of a fight against the Roaches. Roaches only have +1 missile attacks, no carapace upgrades. The Ravages are doing their thing. A couple of links looking for, I don't know, reinforcements, some pickups, but there is nothing to be found there. The Zealots will keep this base safe, and this really is the final army, guys, of our Belarusian Zergi. After 15 minutes, it is starting to look like we are going to the rubber match. Another game 5. Goblins should have this one in the bag. No lurkers to turn things around. No hive tech upgrades, no adrenal glands, no bank. The only thing that Nikich has is 102 army supply, but this, like, he might be able to somehow win a fight. I don't think he can, but it would be impressive if he does. But he would have to win a fight so decisively that he can just immediately run into the natural and unpower everything. And I just don't think that's ever going to happen. Goblin is going to use the acceleration zones. How fast are these Archons? What? If they get a couple of good hits off, that's a beautiful engagement. And that will do it. Ladies and gentlemen, for the 2nd time tonight, we are going to the rubber match. I really have found my mojo back, eh? Another hatchery will fall. Nick is just battling for everything that he is worth, but Goblin is too rich, too big on the other side of the map for any of this to make an impact. The GG gets called. Goblin sends it to game 5. Fantastic game. Again. Sick, man. What a cool series between these two. This is it's gonna be very hard for Kalazur and Showtime to do better than this. And they are a little bit behind. We are pretty far behind schedule, and we have the big Gape Cup tomorrow. Showtime is waiting in the chat. I think Diego's probably keeping an eye. Really cool stuff between these two. Still very hard to call who I think is going to take it. Coming into this series, I didn't have much of a clue who I thought was the favorite, who I thought was going to win. And after watching 4 games, I still don't really know. For some reason, I thought this was the main event. Well, they're playing like it's the main event. I think the games are exciting enough to call it the main event. But no, there is still Showtime against Kalazur for $200. 150 for the winner, 50 for the loser. Alright. Game 5. Final round.
Final round. Fight!
Top right side, our Croatian Protoss playing probably the best series that I have seen him play in the Big Brain Bouts in the history of his journey in this tournament series. It is RotterdaM Heroes Goblin. Bottom left side, the eager, young, hungry Belarusian Zerg who's been grinding his butt off and trying to get better at this beautiful video game. And it really is safe to say that he is becoming one of the better players in Europe. This is RotterdaM Heroes Nikich. Still obviously has a little while to go before he can consistently duke it out with the likes of Kalazur, Spirit, Hero Marine, those kinds of Terrans. But he really is getting there, man. He's playing good. I believe he played against RotterdaM this week in the European Pro Tour Weekly as well. And he took a map of RotterdaM. I didn't get to see the series, but I heard it was very close and competitive. I guess based on those results, it is not surprising that he's really making our boy Goblin work for it tonight. And don't forget, one more series after this. And then I'm gonna keep it very short, guys, because I need to eat. And then I need to get a little beauty sleep in before we have a long day of Starcraft in Germany. The Big Gabe Cup tomorrow at the Experion. You don't know how to write that? Experion. It's some sort of a gaming event center. It's a very cool place. Bunch of consoles. They have a bar. I don't know if they serve alcohol actually. I know they have a Red Bull bar. They definitely serve a lot of Red Bulls. And then we're gonna have some fun at LAN. Online fun is great, but LAN fun is even better. Looking forward to seeing a bunch of you. So no F1 shootout. I would love to watch, mate, but maybe I'll put it on my phone. You know, while I'm casting Big Gabe smashing some nerds, maybe I'll have the race on my phone, who knows. Work takes priority. And we're gonna try to do a good jobby tomorrow. Hopefully have a great stream. This is all we can really do, right? Back to the Stargate again. So 4 out of 5 games, Goblin has gone for the 1 gate fast expanse Stargate. Nikich was at least able to just take his natural this time around. I believe it will be streamed on both my channel and Gabriel's channel. And if it goes very late, I will have to call it a day. Like, I cannot make this 1 a.m. or 2 a.m. when I have to be at the airport at 7 a.m. to fly to America. I think even driving to Germany the day before such a big trip is already a bit crazy, but Gabe convinced me. He said, "Oh, if anyone could do it, it's you, Roddy. I count on you." And I'm like, all right. All right, Gabe, you got me. I'll be there. I'll do my best. Gabe said free beer. Yeah, that sounds great, but I don't think I can have any because I need to drive home. It's a real shame because if it was any other weekend, I would obviously stay overnight and I'd just have a great time all day and then hang out with everybody in the evening and drink some beers, have a schnitzel or a kebab. But I really need to drive home as soon as it's over. Ask Gabe again if you can play in the tourney. I got shut down so hard, mate, that I don't want to ask anymore. I am not welcome in the Gabe tourney. I know, I'm not too worried about like the lack of sleep. I can manage that. That part will be okay. It's just it's obviously a lot. It's a lot of stuff to do within a single day. We'll manage. Like I think even at very optimistic rather planning, I'm gonna be home at like 2 a.m. and I have to leave my house at 6 a.m. to go to the airport. It's definitely cutting it a little close, all, but We'll figure it out. We've got Vicky on our side. Vicky will help. Double Oracles are going to fly into the natural and zap down 3 drones. Overlord is taking a little sneak peek into the main. Once more, Goblin going for the quick +1 on the Forge and Zealot charge. Oracles? Whoa, for the first time there's actually an opportunity for both of them. In the end, it's funny because I feel like they've both been very sharp throughout the series. And this is the first time where we have like a funny moment of 2 seconds of neither player really paying attention. And in the end it came down to who pays attention first, and it was our Zergy. Tiny missed opportunity for Goblin, who was probably busy warping in all those gates. No shield battery yet here, so the Lynx could go for a probe. They think about it. Man, that's so many gates. What the hell? Guys, this is even more. Oh my goodness. What is this? I feel like he didn't have this many gates last game. No, last game he went up to 8. Now we're going up to 10. 10 gateway Zealot, but Nikich is already spamming roaches. And Zealots suck against roaches. This cannot work for Goblin, unfortunately. Nikich scouted, obviously learned from that last game. I think he took a lot of damage. He didn't just die immediately, but that could have gone a lot worse for Nikich, and I think he's aware of that. A good Oracle drive-by here, by the way, by Goblin, but I think the roaches are absolutely going to smack these Zealots around. And it's very painful for Goblin, but he's hiding everything. He's doing okay. Alright, let's just go ahead and follow first-person view of our Belarusian friend once more. But he already has 16 roaches, guys. 16 roaches just don't die against Zealots. Stasis Trappy in the back of the main. Nikich is looking at it, paying attention. Gonna take care of it. The Overlord should have seen something there. He sees some Zealots, but he's so ready. He is so Omega ready. It's very sad for Goblin, but he just can't do anything with the Zealots here. It's good that he took these gases and we can start transitioning, but I would say don't even fight. Fighting here is a donation. Because you cannot fight this many roaches. This is not doable. Don't do it, Goblin. Don't do it. He's doing it. He's kind of doing it. He really shouldn't do it. Minus 6 Zealots for a creep tumor, maybe, and a couple Zerglings. He did split off 2 Zealots to get into this base at the bottom side of the map. Working on Immortals now, and that's obviously what's needed on the side of Goblin, but because he went for so many gateways first, the Robotech is a bit late, the Immortal count is going to be low. I think Nikich can just attack with 200 supply Roachling Bane. I don't know if Goblin can possibly deal with that. Scary moments for Goblin. If this game goes on for another 4 minutes, it's probably very good news for Goblin. Okay, the Hydra then. Hey. Alright. I really think that a maxed out Roachling Bane army would have killed Gobbis. Seems like it's not gonna quite go down that path. Beautiful queen positioning here, by the way. Single transfuse, keeping the queen alive. What a game by Nikich. Man has killed 17 Zealots and lost almost nothing. Not a single queen, not a single roach. The infestation pit has been dropped. Nikich is on 75 drones and 109 army supply. Like, he could obviously kind of do both, right? He could go for a maxed out attack of Roachling, Ravager, Bane. And also still play for the late game and go for the hive. Here come the roaches of Nikich. There's a lot of Zealots being warped in, but Zealots in the choke point are going to have a very awkward fight. Actually, the roaches should just fight the Zealots here, in my opinion. At the same time, we are looking at some Banelings crashing into this Protoss army. This Protoss army is not that big. I'm afraid that these Immortals are going to get surrounded. The roach is still battling in the natural. They really wanted that Cybercore. In the end, they decided against that Cybercore. That was a bad roach attack by our Belarusian friend. So Goblin has actually kind of turned this around because he saves a couple of these Immortals too. Oh, guys, I don't know what happened over here, but it wasn't good. That was not good. We went from losing 0 roaches to losing 21. And we've got a game again. Somehow didn't get anything. Maybe a Zealot or two, but didn't deny the base. Didn't surround the Archons and the Immortals. Did not kill the Cybercore, if that really would have mattered. That was not it. The Oracles obviously really helped out, but I think it's mostly just all the Roaches were attacking the Cybercore forever, which is a pretty tanky building. And yeah, if there's 3 Oracles just wailing away from above. Well, Nikich is here for round 2. A bunch of Banelings. Goblin uses battery overcharge. He's trying to save the probes. Can we save the probes? Well, kinda. Oh, the stasis trappy as well. Now it's gonna be awkward though. Now it's gonna be awkward. Because you cannot look away. You need to make sure maybe an Archon here and an Archon here is the best way to deal with this. Nikich maybe looking for a Baneling run by into the natural. That's not going to work. Boom. Gets the battery, but Hive is done. RotterdaM has been dropped down. Lings and Banes looking to battle a couple Zealots, but it's not just Zealots. We have a battery, we have a cannon, Archon and Immortal. 3 Banelings without any upgrades won't get a whole lot done. The Belarusian, man, he is playing with an insane amount of just urgency. He wants to find damage. He says, I was supposed to get damage, I will get damage. Great splits there, again by Goblin. Has done a phenomenal job keeping his probes alive, only losing 8 there. If you time it perfectly, that's possible, yes, Benny. You can technically let stasis go into another stasis, but it's not easy. Thank you, Prof Nuggy. I appreciate it, mate. Glad you enjoyed the show. Units lost resource tab right now. 2,600 difference. Goblin chilling with 8 Archons, 8 Immortals, 8 Zealots and a couple of Oracles. Sending over a few Zealots to the top left side, but Lings and Banes will take care of that. These games have been incredibly competitive. So far, yeah. In before 3-0 main event, all 9 minutes. But even if that happens, guys, we still had a great night of games, let's be honest. I don't know if Goblin is really in the spot that he can do this. He feels that he can do this. He's got a bunch of Immortals. He's got a bunch of Archons. The Lurkers are morphing. A couple of the Lurkers are going to burrow. Goblin just wants to maybe get the hatch and get the hell out of here. I'd say that's an okay plan. It won't be for free though. Now a couple of these Archons are stuck. Immortals kind of stuck as well. Who wants to fight? Who wants to disengage? Who's retreating? Who's trapping? Nobody really knows. By the way, kudos to how good Goblin got with Oracles, man. I mentioned it briefly in the beginning of the series, but he does such an awesome job in keeping them alive. And it's so easy to lose your Oracles. He's probably going to lose all of them like right after I said that, obviously. But Goblin spreads out his army. He thinks that this is the fight to take. On creep, Zealots storming into the natural. There are some Lurkers in the mix. I think Lings right now for Nikich. If I'm Nikich, I make nothing but Zerglings, and I hope it's going to be good enough. You need to protect your Lurkers. He knows that, ooh, a couple Hydras running through the meat grind. The Goblin taking the supply lead. We have a counterattack of the Lings. The Lings are useful at home right now. These are just Immortals. If the Lings can get on top of these Immortals, it's going to get very, very, very dire. Goblin, you need to recall, I think. I think a recall, no? Don't you need to recall? He doesn't want to recall, he wants to battle, but he's going to lose a bunch of Immortals if he does that. Did kill a lot of the Zerglings. In the end, one Lurker manages to burrow. Goblin saves 5 of them. I'm very impressed that he managed to do that. Maybe with a recall it would have gone even worse. I mean, everything is melting, guys. The Zerg army is melting. The Protoss army is melting. It is melt galore over here. What is this? Molten core? That's the thing, right, guys? World of Warcraft, the dungeon, opening game. Wasn't molten core a thing? I never made it that far. I was a level 21 Taurus before I uninstalled the game. I think that's the OG dungeon. Taurus, Tauren, whatever. I kept on dying, okay? WoW was very hard for me. Grandmaster Protoss, no big deal, but WoW was very difficult. I am very worried about this Protoss army, by the way. I don't like this Protoss army. I think especially not on creep. Hydras can just jump on top of it, and this time around Goblin will get punished for one of these aggressive move outs. He does get 13 drones, but he lost so many expensive units. These are also not units that he can just warp in. The Zealot counterattack is going to get denied, or Zealot run by rather into the natural gets denied as well. Nikich takes by far and away the best fight that he has taken in this game, besides that initial Roach versus Zealot fight. Goblin is working with 2 robos. Who is going to walk away with 100 buckies here in the co-main event of the evening? I feel like it is starting to look like it's going to be our Belarusian friend. Or could it still be Goblin as we queue up Storm? Sure, that's the MX. Is it an Overwatch ult? Which hero? Stasis traps here, by the way, guys. I played Overwatch. Big stasis trappies, but I don't think Goblin can capitalize on it. Because sometimes these stasis traps, they kind of form like force fields as well, and that's going to protect the lurkers. Linger run by, number 27 of the series, is going to get a couple of probes. The battery, maybe an immortal, but the Zealots have something to say about it. But the probes are exposed though. The last few Zerglings, guys, really putting a number on the probes. Hydra's trying to jump on this army that doesn't have a lot of splash damage. And before someone says, Archons deal splash damage. No, doesn't count. Archons have T-Rex arms. That's not splash. Colossus, sure. Archons, no. Only against Zerglings. 100 army supply against 122. What a series for the ages between these two, man. I thought it was going to be cool, fun, and I was hoping for a good game or two. I did not expect banger after banger after banger between Goblin and Nikich, but here we are, a few more storms landing. Goblin is going to run back to this base. It has no cannons or batteries. Adreno glands on the way and +3 missile attacks. Oh. And I think I like the Zerg army more than I like the Protoss army, even if the Protoss army has Storm now. There's so many freaking lurkers. 12. Goblin does attack with a couple Zealots. What a cool series. Shout out to Glausinger and Jartir for joining me. 5 months and 3 months. Maybe Nikich can just attack this base from the high ground. Like, I don't think you really need to go down this ramp. But I think he just likes his army, and I think he kind of wants to fight. And I can't blame him for it. Now we move a couple of the lurkers to the right, and the lurkers are in range of the probes. The probes are dying. High Templar is trying to do their thing. Archons and Immortals. Oh, Goblin not paying attention, losing 2 expensive units for free, trying to take this base, but Nikich is all over this base, gets the kill. Zealots on move command. Oh, Gobbus. Painful moments here, guys, for Goblin. Loses 2 bases, loses an Archon, an Immortal, a bunch of Zealots. And what a performance by our Belarusian Zergi. Really playing just excellent Starcraft tonight. Probably the best ZVP that I've ever seen out of him. I used to spar with this guy on the ladder. I was like, yeah, he's pretty good, you know, but not that good yet. The other day I had an argument with our other old school Russian Zerg Revolver. And he said that young Yakov is by far and away the 6th best Zerg in Europe. Your top 5, of course, being Serral, Raynor, Elazer, Lambo, and Vanya. And he says young Yakov is undisputed number 6. Nobody comes close. Well, I said I think Nikich is close, and after watching these games, I think he's omega close. Hello, Fuser. He was coping, Maples. He was absolutely coping when he said that. We didn't even have MMR in that day and age. Yeah, I challenged him. I was like, let's play. But then he said I'm 4,800 right now. So I was like, all right, let's not play. Let my friend Lethal play. Couple probes are going to get picked off here, but in the end, the Ravages will get cleaned up. Goblin still posturing in a very aggressive manner. Goblin likes his army, and hey, if he can outmaneuver the lurker, Storm, disengage. Okay, Goblin, maybe, potentially. Nikich does have money. Oh, +3 melee gets denied, by the way. That's big. Can't believe Goblin was just able to walk up this ramp. It makes all the difference whether or not you're the one that has to run into the lurkers or the lurkers have to run into you. Goblin splits off one Immortal, but it doesn't get a whole lot done. Zealots, Archons, Immortals getting on top of the center base. This game, man, is just... How do you say that? Like, it's a promotion for StarCraft 2 almost. I feel like this is everything that the StarCraft 2 game designers had in mind when they made this game a long time ago. A couple of feedbacks landing. We have fights all over the place. Drones right now going straight through the army of the Protoss. Goblin did take out that center base. Broodlords, however, are going to be a bit of an issue. We have 2 cybernetics cores apparently, because the one was close to dying, but it didn't die. More Zealots getting on top of the drones over here in the bottom left side. Advertisement. This entire series is a commercial for Starcraft 2. It was not actually real. Ooh, Lurkers passing this Protoss army. They're awfully close to one another, but maybe a tiny base trade, guys? Could it really come down to a base trade? We had a Big Brain Bouts not too long ago have the most epic base trade conclusion on Hecate. The one between Showdown and Vanya. In the end, Vanya won it with 1 extractor on 10 HP. I don't know if it's going to be that epic. The Vipers don't have any energy. Goblin lands feedbacks immediately, but the Broodlords will reign supreme. There's not really an answer for these Broodlords at the moment. Goblin's got a crazy big army there. He's got 18 Stalkers, guys. We are waiting for these 18 Stalkers. If the 18 Stalkers have 1 great blink underneath these Broodlords, that could make the difference. Will this be the forward blink, as there is no support for the Broods? Goblin goes for it, and he guns down 3 rather quickly. The Lurkers are coming in from the top left. The Broods still exposed. Look at these Stalkers doing that thing. Is this then actually still Goblin's game? Oh my, oh my. Wow. That's insane. 2 Broodlords remaining, 9 Lurkers, 6 Hydras. Goblin gets on top of this hatchery as well. All hell broke loose like 6 times throughout this game. With 3, 4, 5 different fights at once. And in the end, it seems now that it's going to be Goblin. Unless this game has another crazy twist. I don't think that is going to happen. 1 more Lurker gets picked off. The Archon dies, but Goblin at this point is mining twice as much as Nikich, which isn't really a whole lot, by the way. This is like a solid 1 base economy. Who cares? Double is double. Do we still have those Vipers, by the way? No. The Vipers die as well to those Stalkers after they got feedback. The Greatest Spy gets picked off. Kind of heartbreaking for Nikich, who really played one hell of a series. We need a recall here, Goblin. He will recall, loses a couple Stalkers, but sniped a few important buildings. There's 1 more army to clean up on the side of Goblin. All he needs to do is clean this army up 1 time. If he does that, he wins the game. He's got 1100 minerals in the bank, 9 gateways. The Immortals kill a Lurker and we disengage. Storm is going to soften up this leftover Zerg army a bit as well. A 30 army supply lead for Goblin to close out this series. Just don't do something silly. As long as he doesn't do something omega silly, he's got this. Stalkers, I think, are looking for the flank. Or maybe looking to pick up another base. Hatchery finishes up. Barely any minerals left here, by the way. There are 27 links now, so Goblin needs to be careful that he doesn't lose all the Stalkers. He cannot recall anymore. We have a fight as well. Ooh, Stalkers are kind of stuck. A couple of Stalkers will die. Army supply is somewhat close now, guys. Those Broodlords have a super sweet spot in the center of the map. 93 army supply against 72, but Goblin has money. Something that Nikich does not have. Well, still some money. Enough to crank out a few more Hydras. 79 army supply against 64. It's getting closer, but Goblin has money in the bank. If he just spends that, he should be able to take a lead. 4 more Lurkers. Hello? Hello? No. I mean, with 23 drones, it should be impossible, right? It should be impossible. Where are those 4 more Lurkers? I'm really curious about it. Are they coming in from the bottom? Yes, they are. The Immortals, will they get shots off? They get a couple shots off. This is excellent army positioning by our Belarusian Zerg, who's going to grab a couple of these expensive units. Can the Hydras chase far enough down? But this is one of the most epic games, I think, of StarCraft that you are going to see in the year 2024. Especially if somehow Nikich can still win. But that would be a miracle, right? But he does have Lurkers. He's got Hydras. He's got a few links. 10 more links are going to show up. A battery overcharge would make the difference here. This is it. Goblin's flank. How long will these Immortals live? They live long enough to get a couple of shots off. The Stalkers blink forward. Do we still have an observer? Yes. But the Zerg army is really putting up one hell of a fight. 33 supply against 30 army supply. Extra links showing up. Oh my god. Don't tell me that he's doing it. Do not tell me that Nikich is winning this game. What the hell is just happening over here, guys? This is ridiculous. It's impossible. 23 drones, 28 army supply. It shouldn't be possible. Goblin has warped in a few more units. He's gonna get another base over here. We have a tiny bit of money. This Oracles is F it, I will just harass. 2 more Zealots kill the natural. Nikich needs to we split off some Zerglings, right? He needs to get on top of this. These bases are mega exposed. Yeah, he doesn't want to lose his momentum. I think in the end now enough time has gone by that Goblin will be fine. Gets the Broodlord right. Get the Lurker. That Lurker is 1 hit away from dying. That Lurker will die. If Nikich, guys, was able to split up a few links and take out these probes or have a few links on this base, it doesn't have to be many, right? 8 links would have probably made enough of a difference. But Goblin did always have money in the bank to warp in units there. It's still Goblin. Well, 4 more Lurkers. Nah, I think it's still Goblin. I think at this point the income advantage is too much of a difference. 0 gas, by the way, for Goblin. These Lurkers will get cancelled. Now it's just Hydras. Hydras battling. We have a couple Hydras, a couple Links. But the final Zealots. 1 Archon, 2 Immortals. Oh my. What an absolutely awesome, fantastic series. After 26 minutes, it is Platinum Heroes Goblin who wins a proper banger of a best of 5. Every single game was fun. Final game was the best. Holy smokes, what a series. Wow, sick. That was actually very good. Damn. Alright, Showtime versus Calazur. It's a little bit late. They're not going to be happy with me, but it's okay. Crazy series. How am I ever going to top that? Alright, Diego, I'll see you on Battle.net, mate. We're waiting in the channel. Basilisk with the 20 gifted subs. That series deserved it. Man, what a series. Holy. What a final game, too. Oh, damn. Alright. Tiny Reiki, guys. And then I'll be back.